How often do you think about conspiracy theories? How often do you think about racism and the Nazi Party? And have you ever considered that there might be a potential connection between the two? While at first glance the two seem unrelated, if we take a closer look at the histories surrounding certain conspiracies, along with those who propagate them, we find that there's a lot closer of a tie than you might think. Before we start, it's important to understand how conspiracy theory communities are built. These communities are fundamentally founded off of an us versus them mentality. Now, this is taken almost to a comical extreme, where when spreading certain ideas, conspiracy theorists will sometimes just straight up say this is something that they don't want you to know without ever specifying who they is. And it makes the us versus them mentality very, very clear in those moments. This strong sense of community will be relevant later on, but for now I just want you to keep that in the back of your minds as we start going over who are the leading members in these groups that conspiracy theorists tie themselves so closely with. Starting off, I want to take a look at the talking heads in these communities, people who have a large following and have a large amount of influence. The first example that I want to talk about is a man named Milton William Cooper, the author of a book titled Behold a Pale Horse. In this book, Cooper goes into detail about different conspiracy theories, including extraterrestrial life, the Illuminati, secret shadow governments, and how HIV/AIDS is a man-made disease that is made for population control of gay and black people. I'm just going to let that speak for itself. That aside, what I think is more important to look at is the book's reference to the piece of literature titled The Protocols of the Elders of Zion. This is a piece of very anti-Semitic literature that has been debunked in recent years, but that's kind of irrelevant to the point that I'm making currently, because at the time of the publishing of the book, it hadn't been debunked, and it was just considered a very real, very anti-Semitic piece of literature, in which Cooper references as to being written by the Illuminati. Cool. Now, after a lot of controversy surrounding this section of the book was removed from later publishings. Now, it might be tempting to say that without that piece of anti-Semitism in there, that the book should be fine. But to that, I would say it's time to look at who enjoys and who is actually reading the book. Because this book gained its popularity by being the manifesto for the American militia movement. Oh, you don't know who that is? That's fine. They are one of the groups that were involved in the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville. You know, alongside Klansmen and actual fucking Nazis. Cool. Unfortunately, this is not an isolated incident. A very popular and very influential speaker for conspiracy theorists is a man named David Icke, who has written over 20 self-published books and spoken in 25 countries about his ideas. Also of note, he is banned in several countries because of Holocaust denial. Fun! Hey, remember that anti-Semitic text from earlier, the Protocols of the Elders of Zion? Well, guess what? It's back! In Icke's book titled The Robots' Rebellion. Icke's reference to it is drawn directly to what he believes is happening, which is that a shadowy cabal has plans for world domination, and that reptilian shapeshifters, part of the Babylonian Brotherhood, are trying to bring about a new world order. To anyone with listening comprehension and more than 3 brain cells, that racism and anti-Semitism here should be pretty fucking obvious. This is a cut and dry anti-Semitic conspiracy theory about how Jewish people are part of a secret shadow government that is taking over the world. This is a theory that Mustache Man himself pushed to further the animosity felt towards Jewish people, which led to the Holocaust. Now, to further solidify the connection between conspiracy theories and the Nazi Party, we can look a little bit further back in history, starting with a book published in 1916 by a man named Madison Grant, titled The Passing of the Great Race. Now, the book is divided into 2 halves, the first of which deals with his opinions on eugenics, which I'm sure you can guess. As a strong believer in anti-immigration laws, Grant proposed the idea that the downfall of American civilization could be blamed on immigration, and that eugenics could be a potential part of the solution, in the idea that cleansing the gene pool before it was too late through eugenics would be able to fix this. Now, side note, Grant was friends with a man named Henry Osborne, who was another conspiracy theorist. This one specifically involved with the Nebraska Man, which is a debunked conspiracy theory surrounding a pig's tooth and the invention of entirely new hominid species. And that's largely irrelevant here, but the reason that I bring him up is because Osborn is none other than the founder of the American Eugenics Society. I just wanted to bring that up, let you know that, and let that sit there while we continue to talk about this man. And remember that he's besties with the American Eugenics Society founder. Alright, cool. Back to the book. The second half of the book is spent with Grant talking about European prehistory, in which he classifies 3 European races, which he considers superior to all non-European races. The highest ranking of these 3 being the White Aryan. Why fucking wouldn't it be? Anyways, this gained enough popularity that Adolf Hitler himself wrote a letter to Grant saying, quote, "The book is my Bible." So you're really, really doing some great work out here, Grant. Good job. Now, for a final nail in the coffin, we can look at the actual work of the Nazi Party itself. A group called the Ahnenerbe, which was founded by a man named Heinrich Himmler, who was, Hitler's second-in-command. This was the group that was focused on finding evidence for an ancient Aryan master race that once ruled the Earth. The group largely followed theories about Atlantis trying to find this. So I'm just going to let that be what that is and speak for itself. Another Nazi conspiracy theorist by the name of Alvin Rosenberg wrote a book called The Myth of the 20th Century, in which he suggested that Atlantis could hold the secrets and histories of this ancient master race. To quote it directly, "And so today, the long-derived hypothesis becomes a probability, namely that from a northern center of creation, which, without postulating an actual submerged Atlantic continent we may call Atlantis, swarms of warriors once fanned out in obedience to the ever-renewed and incarnate Nordic longing for distance to conquer and space and shape." Now, with all this said, even if a bunch of conspiracy theories weren't outright tied to or started by or pushed by the Nazis, a lot of them would still be swimming in racism and Nazi ideology indirectly. A very easy example would be the Great Pyramids. Despite having vast amounts of historical evidence showing us how these were made and what was done to go about making them, conspiracy theorists still cling to the idea that it simply wasn't possible to make the pyramids. Some even saying we couldn't do it with the technology we have nowadays. Okay, motherfucker, you're fucking wrong. We built the Bass Pro Shops pyramid, and goddammit, that's the biggest fucking pyramid in the earth. Anyway, despite the evidence that we have, some people still claim that we couldn't have done it, and that idea exclusively stems from the fact that this was a bunch of brown people in the desert that figured out that, hey man, the best way to stack rocks is probably bigger at the bottom, it's smaller at the top. It's just the best way to stack rocks, and the idea that a bunch of brown people couldn't have figured that out is kind of racist, actually. I don't think it's that hard to figure out, and the idea that they couldn't is literally just racism. I don't know what else to tell you. And it should be quickly worth noting that the literal only building conspiracy that you will see that is in Europe is Stonehenge. It's the only fucking one. And it's not because the Europeans didn't build anything amazing. They built a bunch of cool shit. I'll let you, with your hopefully 2 functioning brain cells, see if we can put together why conspiracy theories, which are heavily based in racism, might not target European civilizations as much as they did ones in Africa, like Egypt. Did you figure it out? Congratulations, good job. I don't feel like I need to explain it to you. Another quick separated example is the Star Child skull and the conspiracy theories surrounding that. While the conspiracy theories themselves aren't inherently based in racism, the ideas surrounding it and why it's a conspiracy theory in the first place hold rather dangerous ideas. The Star Child skull was a misshapen child skull that was found in Mexico, and despite the fact that multiple neuroscientists have looked at and examined the skull and determined that, yep, that's just a deformed human child skull, I don't know what else to fucking tell you, conspiracy theorists still look at it and go, nope, that's an alien. And you may be asking, okay, well, how is that really that problematic. I mean, sure, it's kind of fucked up, but like, is it that bad at the end of the day? And I would say the answer to that is eugenics. Yeah, that's right, we're going back to that shit again. Now, how is it eugenics? Well, if we zoom out for a second and look at what they're saying fundamentally, what is being said is that because someone's skull is not the same shape as I think it should be, that person is not a human. I shouldn't have to explain to you how dangerous of an idea that is to cling to. I am personally of the belief that eugenics is bad. That's my spicy take for the video. A crazy hot take. I know. But again, even though the theory itself isn't based in racism, it kind of is based in eugenics, which is notoriously not good. Now, at this point, I will put my little asterisks in saying that not all conspiracy theories are tied directly or indirectly to racism or Nazism. Sometimes they really are genuinely separated. There are mainly two categories of these. The first one being science denialism, and the second type being government conspiracy theories, both of which have their own issues. To get the low-hanging fruit out of the way quickly, science denialism is obviously just dangerous for different reasons. I mean, as we saw with COVID conspiracy theories, people were injecting themselves with horse tranquilizer. Fucking horse tranquilizer. Not even just to the point of, oh, I'm not getting the vaccine, I don't fucking need it, that's the jab of the beast, some fucking shit. I don't know, man. But even that, stupid. But no, some people took it further and decided to inject themselves with actual fucking horse tranquilizer, which killed them. That's not good. I don't want people dying. That's my second hot take. Now, to quickly jump over to the second type, government conspiracy theories. Now, I have my own issues with these because these are mostly based around making shit up that the government did or didn't do to get mad at them for that. And here's my issue with that. You don't have to do that. You do not have to make up shit for the government to do to be mad at them. You can just be mad at the government. You can look at the prison system and go, hey man, I think it's not good that slavery is still legal if the person is in prison. You can look at that and go, I don't think that's good. I am mad at the government for that. There are things to get mad at the government for. There really, really are. And sidetracking and making shit up detracts from that. So the issues with spreading government conspiracy theory misinformation is that it actually ends up making the government look more trustworthy than most people because they can go, okay, well that's clearly untrue, so I can probably ignore the other stuff that people are claiming they're doing because that might also be untrue. Now, at the end of the day, this isn't going to be relevant in most people's day-to-day lives. It's really not that serious. But I would encourage anyone watching to think critically when you see conspiracy theories, not just about their truthfulness, but also about what potential ideologies they're built on. And if somehow anyone who believes in conspiracy theories has made it this far when I've kind of been making fun of you a little bit, I would ask you to think if you really want the groups you're surrounding yourself with to be filled with Nazis and white supremacists. Now, I fundamentally believe that most conspiracy theorists are normal people, save for a few ideas. And I also believe that most normal people do not want their company to be filled with Nazis and white supremacists. So I would ask, if you are a conspiracy theorist and somehow made it this far, to actually think critically about the groups that you're surrounding yourselves with, and ask yourself if they are the groups you want to surround yourself with. I don't know how to end this video. Goodbye.